Hey, Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ bless. This is another 15 minutes with the captains. I'm Captain Mattathias.
And I'm Officer Losias.
All right, and today's topic is how to face failure. All right, this is not a long topic. All right, but it's a good topic, for those who are young and don't really understand, the hard things to come within this walk. So we're going to touch on it. All right, let's start with the book of Psalms, chapter 37 and verse 23.
The book of Psalms, chapter 37 and verse 23. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall.
Though he what?
Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand.
So this is what we have to understand. We're going to fall, all right? The scriptures say, though he fall, read it again.
Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down. For the Lord upholdeth him with his hand.
Right, very good. From there, let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 1. Okay? This is a good one that always needs to be read, all right, when it comes to our walk in this truth. Come on.
Sirach 2 and verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
We have to do that. We have to prepare our soul for temptation. All right. Today's topic is how to face failure. All right. So understand there's many demons that you don't even know you deal with. So you have to be patient in this walk. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 28, verse 17. All right. Because it's going to come in different ways and different forms. And guess what? Sometimes people are going to say things to you that you may not like. Or they may hurt your feelings. It doesn't matter. You have to understand, all right, you may have failed, you may have come short, but you have to keep going. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have to keep pushing. Read on.
Sirach 28 and verse 17.
Come on.
The stroke of the whip maketh marks in the flesh, but the stroke of the tongue breaketh the bones.
All right, so the scripture is telling you, yes, harsh words, yes, it can affect you. There's no doubt about it. Read on.
Many have fallen by the edge of the sword, but not so many as have fallen by the tongue.
So it says many have fallen by, war and guns, swords. All right, but it says not as much as have been wounded by the tongue. So it's showing you, hey, when you are, in a state of adversity, understand people are going to say any and everything to you, but you still can't crumble. Read.
Verse 19, well is he that is defended from it.
It says, well is he that is defended from it. Defended from what? What people say about you. Read.
And hath not passed through the venom thereof.
Because the venom is what? Deadly. All right. You didn't let the venom, cut off your airways. All right. You kept going. Read.
Who hath not drawn the yoke thereof, nor hath been bound in her bands.
Read on.
For the yoke thereof is a yoke of iron.
Come on.
And the bands thereof are bands of brass.
Watch this.
The death thereof is an evil death. The grave were better than it.
Give me the book of Revelation real quick. I believe I want Revelation chapter 3. This is what it's going into. Give me verse 11. All right.
Revelation chapter 3 and verse 11.
Come on.
Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown.
Right, because words come from man. Don't let a man take your crown. Meaning what? Many have died and missed out on the kingdom just because of what men and women have said about them. The scripture is saying don't do that. Even in your failure, keep going. Let's go back to the scripture. Sirach 28, what verse you was at?
Verse
21.
21. The book of Sirach, chapter 28 and verse 21.
Come on.
The death thereof is an evil death. The grave were better than it.
Read.
It shall not have rule over them that fear God.
See that? It says the tongue or those hurtful words will not have rule over them that fear God. And how will you know you fear God? When you fall. All right? When you have your adversity, when you have your failure. That's how you'll know. If brothers say get on you and you fall out, you ain't believe in the first place. That means you was doing it for them. As soon as you fell out of good graces with them, you fell out. That means you was never doing it to serve God in the first place. Okay? All right, so from there, let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 24, verse 10. All right, how to face failure. All right? You got to be strong, man. You got to have thick skin, especially in this truth. Now, you got to have thick skin. You can't let nobody take your crown from you, man. Read what you got.
Proverbs 24 and verse 10.
Come on.
If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small.
Right. When things get hard for you, if you faint and say, you know what, I'm done with this, your strength is going into your faith. That means it's very, very, very small. All right, we're going to come back to Proverbs, but do me a favor, jump to Job real quick. Another thing, Job 9. Another thing brothers and sisters like to do when they hit a crossroad, a failure, they like to justify themselves. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
Thank you. Watch this.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 3 and verse 39.
Come on.
Wherefore doth a living man complain, a man for the punishment of his sin?
Right, because sometimes we like to get mad and try to justify ourselves as if we're right. Understand, a lot of times the reason why we fail in this truth is because you may have did some sin. And this is how the Most High saw fit to punish you. But sometimes you don't want to realize what you really did, and you can't see, you're not spiritual enough to see this is why you're failing. This is why the adversity is coming. And you want to justify yourself. Do not do that. Give me Job 9 and 20. Job chapter 9, verse 20. Watch this.
Job chapter 9 and verse 20. If I justify myself, mine own mouth shall condemn me. If I say I am perfect, it shall also prove me perverse.
You ain't perfect. So understand the reason why this is happening to you, because you ain't perfect. Understand, take the failure and humble yourself and build upon it, okay? From there, give me Job chapter 4, verse 3. And read down to 5.
Job chapter 4 and verse 3.
Come on.
Behold, thou hast instructed many, and thou hast strengthened the weak hands.
You know, for those who've been around for a little time, like you've taught people, hey, this is how we do keep the Sabbath. This is how you sew fringes on your shirt. You can't do this. And those in leadership, you've counseled many people. But even those in leadership is going to face failure. So the Bible's saying, read it again.
Behold, thou hast instructed many, and thou hast strengthened the weak hands.
Come on.
Thy words have upholden him that was fallen.
Right. So your own words, you've counseled, you helped brothers and sisters who have faced failure before. Read.
And thou hast strengthened the feeble knees.
And you was able to help them and strengthen them and, help them get through their horrible or low time. Read.
But now it is come upon thee.
So now the script is flipped. Now it's on you. Read.
And thou faintest.
And now what?
And thou faintest.
And thou faintest. Read.
It toucheth thee, and thou art troubled.
You see that? So we always have to be vigilant and circumspect. We got to realize the same counsel that we given, guess what? We're going to need that same counsel. And realizing what? When our failure comes, we cannot justify ourselves. We have to be humble, and we have to take it, and we have to build upon that thing, okay? From there, let's go back to Proverbs chapter 24. We're jumping down to verse 16.
Proverbs 24 and verse 16.
Come on.
For a just man falleth 7 times.
Scripture say you're going to fall throughout this truth, all right? But if you this is what you're going to do.
And riseth up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief.
Right. You're going to rise up again. Give me Proverbs 11 and 8.
Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 8.
Come on.
The righteous is delivered out of trouble, and the wicked cometh in his stead.
You see, that's how you're going to know. If you're righteous, you're going to get out of the trouble. You're going to bounce back from your failure. But if you're wicked, you're going to continue to be in the slump. You're never going to be able to catch yourself or recover yourself. All right, from there, let's go to Sirach chapter 47 and verse 20. Now, it depends on the offense. It depends on the failure, the magnitude of the failure. Sometimes, hey, that good name that you had ain't going to be as good. But guess what? It is what it is. We're going to give you an example. Give me 47 and verse 20.
Sirach 47 and verse 20.
Come on.
Thou didst stain thy honor.
Thou didst stain thine honor. Read.
And pollute thy seed, so that thou broughtest wrath upon thy children, and was grieved for thy folly.
Who did that happen to? King Solomon. That happened to King Solomon. But guess what? He got himself together. All right, and at the end of the day, he's going to make it. All right, so yeah, remember our history, how the kingdom was rendered too. That was King Solomon's fault. Out of all his glory, being the wisest man on earth, even he had failure. But guess what? He endured and he overcame, okay? From there, give me 1 Samuel 16 and 7. For those who only care about their reputation, you always have to ask yourself, am I doing this for God or am I doing this for man? Read what you got.
1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 7.
Come on.
But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature.
Come on.
Because I have refused him.
Uh-huh.
For the Lord seeth not as man seeth.
Yeah, God don't see how man see it. It don't matter if you got a stain on your arm. It don't matter because you're not doing this for man. You doing this to please God. Read.
For man looketh on the outward appearances, but the Lord looketh on the heart.
God knows if you truly repentant and trying to get yourself together. Okay, from there, let's go to Baruch chapter 4, verse 28. Going into how to face failure, the things that we have to do. Baruch 4 and 28. Read that.
The book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 28.
Come on.
For as it was your mind to go astray from God, so, being returned, seek him 10 times more.
We have to seek God 10 times more. We have to look at the error of our way, and we have to turn from it. All right, from there, give me Ecclesiastes 7 and 1. Because you also have to think about the character. Someone that was perceived to be down and out was able to bounce back from that. You have no choice but to respect that type of brother or that type of sister. Read what you got.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 1.
Come on.
A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth.
Because that's how you're going to be remembered. They'll be like, hey, he did fall, but man, the brother recovered himself and he did this, this, and that. That's how you're going to be remembered. If you can get out of that rut, out of that failure, you're going to be remembered on what you did in the latter part after that failure, okay? From there, give me 1 Peter 5 and 6. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 6. And a lot of failure, the reason why we fail majority of the time is to humble us, all right? Because a lot of us are prideful. Read this.
1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 6.
Come on.
Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God.
Come on.
That he may exalt you in due time.
In due time. So you have to humble yourself. If you want to get out of that rut, you have to humble yourself before God. From there, give me Genesis chapter 30 and verse 25. All right, Genesis 30 and verse 25. All right, a lot of ways to eliminate failure over time is just to endure. All right, the longer you're in this truth, the more you learn. All right, give me that scripture.
Genesis 30 and verse 25.
Come on.
And it came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph that Jacob said unto Laban, send me away, that I may go unto mine own place and to my country.
Come on.
Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for thou knowest my service which I have done thee.
Read.
And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience.
He have done what?
I have learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me for thy sake.
And that's what we got to do. We got to learn by experience. We got to look at our failures in the past. Or we got to look at others' failures, and we have to learn by experience so we don't fall into the same situation. Last scripture, give me Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 11. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 11. I want you to read down to 13.
Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 11.
Come on.
Now, no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous.
Right. When you fail, when you hit rock bottom, it don't feel good. So it don't appear to be joyous. Read.
But grievous. Nevertheless, afterward it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness.
You see, it yielded the peaceable fruit. You just got stronger. All right. You just gained experience. Okay. Read.
Afterward it yielded the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
Read.
Wherefore lift up the hands which hang down and the feeble knees.
Right. Get out of the rut. All right. Read on.
And make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way. But let it rather be healed.
But let it rather be healed. All right, so we're going to go through these hard times. We're going to fall, but the righteous will always overcome. All right, this has been another 15 minutes with the captains. I'm Captain Mattathias.
And I'm Officer Losais.
And with that, we say shalom.
Shalom.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road. Purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.